Okay, welcome back to the YouTube. It's been a while. We finally sorted the camera out, got an SD card, and we are back in the normal routine, and things have been going well. Since the last video, updating about not doing an ultra, which didn't happen. Didn't get the refund, which was a little bit annoying, but it didn't happen. No regrets over that, because since making that decision of not doing the ultra marathon, I've enjoyed training a lot. The enjoyment of not having to follow something so strict and doing, a set program which is linear and progressing, and just not enjoying it. Since that change, I've seen training come through the roof and just generally feeling a little bit better. So we're sat here in the make-do desk area, which is my sister's bedroom, which hence the purple, and not really a room of a 25-year-old. But I'm going to do a little bit of how I've gone about dropping 5 kilos in 7 weeks. We're training in the gym 3 times a week at the moment. It was 4, it's now 3. And just basically speak through how I've managed to go that from a training perspective and a nutrition perspective. And just to go to show how a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of discipline, you can get results fairly quickly. So I'm going to put a picture of what I started like and what I look like now. And as you can see, I started at 83 kilos, just under 83, and I'm now 78 kilos. So 5 kilograms down, a lot leaner, feel a lot better. The face is a lot more chiseled, shall we say. But overall, I didn't have much to lose with body weight. It was more a case of just trying to improve body composition. I still like to have something to aim towards. I have a holiday coming up in the next few days, so I wanted to use that time frame to drop some body weight, improve the way I look, enjoy training, just see where I get to. And overall, very happy. I mean, like I said, I started with 4 gym sessions per week with a upper body, lower body, and then I'd have 2 runs, one on a Wednesday, which was a longer run, and then one on a Saturday, which was more of a tempo interval based session. So started off fine. That was good for probably four weeks, but then I noticed, as you would do with all that high expenditure, food being at 2,000 calories per day, I was just running into a little bit of an issue with recovery and overall energy. So I went to 3 sessions per week now. The last couple of weeks has been full body push, full body pull, and then a full body session. Wednesday I do my long run, 10k with some friends, and then Thursday I now rest. Saturday I do a park run, which is 5k, a little bit more of a quicker pace, and you always go there trying to slow things down, but it never happens because you see people running past you and you don't want to be ran past, so you speed up. And then Sunday's a rest. I've got 3 gym sessions, 2 runs, and 2 rest days per week, and that's been great. Full body approach. I've not trained consistently like this for a very long time, but I've enjoyed it. Doing a full body session. Granted, you don't get quite the pump or that feeling, because obviously you're going from chest to quads to shoulders to back to quads to triceps, etc., as opposed to like an upper body or a push session. But training frequency is obviously 3 sessions per week, so I need to try and fit everything in, hence why a full body approach has worked nicely. And it's something a little bit different. I wanted to try something, and like I said, I've been quite intuitive with training. If a machine's being used that I'd normally use, I'd just go and do another one and not worry so much, rather than waiting for that machine, because that's the one I need to progress on. So that's been the case with training. I'm going to run through my training in a little bit later, sort of towards the end of the video. The runs, 10k, nice, simple and easy. Body weight's coming down. Runs have felt easier, just to be expected. And then the park run, a little bit more threshold. I did go for a all-out sort of 5k just to see where I am at, and that was 20 minutes 38 seconds, I believe. That was pretty tough, but it was sort of my first faster run in a while, off the back of doing so much zone 2 stuff for ultramarathons, Ironmans, that sort of thing. So a small goal I do have is to get sub 20 minutes, which I do think is achievable, but I'm not putting pressure on sort of a time duration to get that. I'll just see sort of how I feel. So that's where we are with the running. 2 runs, like I say, 3 gym sessions, 2 rest days. Nutrition wise, it started off 2,000 calories per day, and then I adjusted it to 2,500 on the days that I run, 2,000 calories on days I'm in the gym and when I'm not running. Now, I've adjusted that because I've now got an additional rest day. So how I've gone about that is calories on days where I'm in the gym, which is 3 days, or when I'm having a rest day, which are 2 days, so 5 days per week, calories at 1800, which, yeah, a little bit rough. I just have carbohydrates before my gym session, see the day through with protein, fat meals, and I feel pretty good. So it's done quite well. Appetite, okay, it's a little bit towards the end of the day, but you know, things like diet drinks, plenty of water, electrolytes for a bit of taste do help. So that's where we are with that. My last meal is normally around about 6 p.m. And then on days where I'm running, I'll look to consume an extra sort of 400 calories. So 2,200 calories on those days. And that's just some more carbohydrates before the run and a few after. On a Saturday after the park run, I might have a little bit of a cake, coffee, and just to keep some normality. So that's where we are with training and nutrition. Like I say, 78 kilos. I am feeling it a little bit more so. I did have some health markers taken, and things are a little bit lower than where I want them to be. That is testosterone. So I've been having a lot of weeing, a lot of urination through the night and through the days. I've had a prostate exam, which was, yeah, and an ultrasound for my bladder. Both come back fine, like no issues at all. Yeah, I'm still urinating quite a lot. And I know, speaking with people who I trust and have a lot of knowledge, urination increase can be a sign of low testosterone. So I thought, okay, I'll privately go and book a blood test, get my testosterone done, and it came back low, which I did think, because there are a few of the symptoms that I have been facing in terms of energy, mood, libido, brain fog, have all been a little bit all over the place. So that is probably a reason as to why that is the case. So normally speaking, the range you want it to be, to keep it nice and simple, is between 13 and 30, and mine came back at 10. So it's not even on the low range, it's completely out of range. So obviously I'll go away this weekend. I'm going to go enjoy Cyprus, a little bit of a different routine. I typically find I work better when I'm away in a better environment. So I'm going to just see how I feel over there. A bit more sunlight, a bit more enjoyment, a little bit sort of not in Coventry. And then come back, and then the plan is to take another blood test with more of a panel reading to see sort of a little bit more in terms of what else is going on in terms of blood work. If that comes back low again, then we'll have to sort of see what's next. I'm just going to go and join the enhanced games next year, go full juice to the gills, and just swim 50 metres and break the world record like they're currently doing. So we shall see, but that's probably a video for another time. So yeah, low testosterone at the age of 25, less than ideal, especially when I don't drink, I eat well, I train, I exercise regularly. I live like a monk. I live quite a boring life compared to some people. Yet I am not in range with my testosterone. But like I say, we deal with what we can. It's still allowed. I've still managed to maintain everything, not use it as an excuse. And that is where we are currently. So in terms of the training sessions and how I go about my nutrition, I'm going to run through it on my training app, OneFit, on what the training sessions look like, what the nutrition looks like, and give you a few tips on how to go about programming a full body training split. Okay, so we have got OneFit loaded up, and this is breaking down my training split that I've mainly used for the last few weeks. Before that I was doing 4 gym sessions, but as I spoke about, I reduced that to 3. The exercises are pretty much the same from when it was a 4-day split to a 3-day. Obviously just the way I've sequenced it and put the sessions together is slightly different, but this is the general approach that I take or have taken. And to be fair, I think this is probably one of the more enjoyable splits, because it has that combination of getting my strength training done, feeling pretty good in the sessions, the way it's structured, managing to run fairly well and enjoying the running, but also having 2 rest days per week, which is only going to help with recovery, especially as I'm in a dieting phase, calories are a little bit lower, and it just gives me a sort of the best bang. So the way it's structured is full body push on a Monday, full body pull on a Tuesday, easy run on a Wednesday, which is normally about 10k. Thursday is a complete rest day off the back of a 10k, a little bit of fatigue, and I run in the evening on a Wednesday night, so it's nice to just Thursday not have to be up as early, take a little bit of a slower morning, and then crack on with my usual working day, and not worry about training. So Thursday's rest. Friday is then a full body session, so I'm going into that session well recovered. That's probably the biggest and most intense session of the week, just because obviously I'm literally covering the whole full body, but I've got a good amount of energy because of the rest day the day before. Saturday is a park run, which is 5k, and then Sunday is a rest day as well. And some of those Sundays I have actually decided to do a run or do something a little bit more active or a little bit more higher intensity as opposed to just walking. but that just sort of depends really. I can use Sundays like a day if I need to do a little bit more. But every day, steps wise, it started off at 10,000, then it went to 12,000. Steps now is at 15,000 per day, which steps is a secret to getting lean. Okay, it's a phenomenal way of burning calories with not really too much thought, especially when the weather's nice, it's warmer as we enter June, and this phase has been the majority of April and May, so the weather's been quite good, and it's just allowed me to burn through calories fairly easily and helped a lot. So definitely implement that. Gym wise, full body push, that is chest, shoulders, triceps, quadriceps and calves. So we've got, you'll see here, the majority of movements are 2 sets. We have 3 sets on goblet squats just because that's the main sort of lower body movement, and I just can get away, because the intensity is a little bit less, I can get away with a bit more in terms of volume. And then we do have a little bit more in terms of muscle groups I'm trying to bring up, and also on isolation work. So we've got leg extensions, 2 sets of 10 to 15. Pec deck, 2 sets, 10 to 15. So using those both as a way of isolating before I go into their compound lift. So obviously goblet squats being mainly quad focused because my heels are elevated, so I'm biasing the quad slightly more as I can obviously promote knee flexion. So getting a little bit more bang for my buck with the quads. I actually quite enjoy a free weight movement like this, core engaged throughout. I have about 40 kilo dumbbell in my hand, so it's challenging enough, and it's a movement I connect with really well through the quads, probably because I've just done it that many times, especially when I was doing the Ironman and everything else. We then go on to a flat plate chest press. Obviously it's 4th exercise in, so there's a little bit of fatigue. I like a machine just to give me a little bit more stability. Top set of a 6 to 8, so fairly heavy, and then a second set of 10 to 12. Taking my time with rest, 2-3 minutes if I need to, no rushing about. We then have a single standing cable lateral raise, so 10 to 15 per side, having the cable set around about my hip height, and obviously thinking about allowing the arm to come across and then coming back down. So full range of motion across all 3 sets. A dip machine, which is plate loaded, 8 to 10 as a heavier set, and then 2 back off sets of 10 to 12. And then we've got tricep push downs, 2 sets, and then standing calf raises, 3 sets, both of those anywhere from 10 to 15 rep range. Full body pull, this is back, biceps, hamstrings. So here we've got line leg curl to begin with to get the hamstrings moving nice and warm. Just the 2 sets again, 10 to 12. Intensity's high, but 2 sets for me I'm managing well with, because recovery is not going to be as good as it could be because I'm in a deficit, and testosterone's a little bit lower from a recent test that I did, so I need to make sure that I'm factoring all of that in. We then have a D handle lat pull down, which again is just getting my back primed, upper back nice and warm before we go into the main mover. So with my squats and my deadlifts, because I'm doing a lot of running and recovery, etc., I'm pulling back intensity and I'm just increasing in working sets. So I've got 6 to 8 here. Typically I will go with 110, 120 and 130 kilos and fall between the 6 to 8 rep range. We then go on to a chest supported row, a little bit more upper back trap dominant, 8 to 10, 10 to 15. And then we've got 2 bicep movements, 3 sets each, because biceps are an area I want to develop. So we've got a preacher curl machine with a top set and 2 back off sets, and then dumbbell curls where we're alternating from arm to arm to help eliminate any imbalances. Easy run, 10k, nice and simple. This is probably like 5-minute 40 per kilometer pace. So I'll go with my friends, we chat. It's just under an hour, and obviously again 750 calories I'm burning from that, so that definitely helps. And obviously on those days calories are a little bit higher, to take that into account. Full body session, as you can see there is a little bit more to get through with this workout, but off the back of a rest day I feel pretty good going into this and sort of mentally ready to know, right, it's going to be a big session. So we've got adductors to start with for 2 sets. We then go on to a leg press, a heavier set of an 8 to 10, and then a 10 to 15 on the back off. An upper back cable row, so this is getting the upper back, obviously a bit more volume, and also I find this helps a lot with my stability when it comes to my dumbbell press, as you can see here. So we've got 6 to 8, 10 to 12. This I noticed the most in terms of strength or progress, just because obviously as body weight's come down, a little bit less stability because of body weight coming down. So it's one I've noticed where I've had to just take it session by session. I see it depend on how I'm feeling. We then go on back onto a lower body seated leg curl for some hamstring work, an 8 to 10 and then 10 to 12. And then we've got dumbbell side lateral raises, 3 sets, because for me you can't get more than your medial head of the shoulder. I don't do any shoulder pressing. I just do sort of chest pressing, and then shoulder work is all lateral. And then we've got some seated dumbbell curls, seated to give us a little bit less momentum to be used. 10 to 15 for 3 sets, and then an overhead rope tricep extension, and that is for 3 sets as well. So there are 3 gym sessions, and then on a Saturday I do a park run, which is 5k. I try to negative split. So did one the other day. It was 5k for kilometer 1. Then it was like 4 minutes 40, 4 minute 30, 4 minute 20, and the last k was like 4 minute 10. So I just go off feel, but I just do it as a bit of fun. And again, more calories to burn. So that's how the gym session looks. And now if we look into nutrition, you'll see here, this is a sort of a breakdown in terms of macros for my days in the gym and the rest day, and then running days as well. So this was 2,000 calories, this was 2,500, but as things have progressed and I wanted to push things a little bit more, this has gone to 1,860, this has gone down to 2,265. So 150 grams of protein. So I've been playing around with a little bit less than what I'd normally go for in terms of protein intake, just from studies and things that I've looked into. And 150 grams has been pretty spot on. I've not really noticed too much of a difference. And obviously, protein is always going to be fairly high for satiety. So a lot of my meals are protein fat. So on these days here, my pre-workout meal tends to be 2 slices of sourdough with 4 eggs. And then post-workout, it will tend to be some Greek yogurt. And then I'll put some fruit in as some form of carbohydrates, but not a huge amount. And then the rest of the meals are sort of protein, fat-based, steak and eggs in the evening, or mince, fish, that sort of thing. So I've been intuitive in terms of I've not been sort of set on a set meal structure, but I roughly know, because of years of tracking, what each food is roughly going to contain. And then on days where I run, I just increase my carbohydrates before and after the running session. So as I've said before, on the 5k park run, I might start the morning, I might have 3 crumpets with a bit of honey, and then afterwards I might have a little bit of a cake, go halves on a cake, and then crack on with my day as normal. And then on a Wednesday I'll do something fairly similar, but afterwards it might just be I'll have a bowl of oats post-run with some protein or something along those lines. So calories are 2,265 on running days. Again, to take into account my appetite is very high on days that I run. So to combat that and not overeat, I give myself a bumper in calories. And then on the days in the gym, I almost treat as a rest day, just purely down to the fact of obviously my output is not as much as I run, and I can sort of push on with hunger. And this sort of has done the trick so far. So that's where we are. Again, using tools like diet drinks, caffeine to help with suppressing appetite is brilliant. Obviously not trying to consume too much in the later on in the afternoon from a sleep perspective. But on the whole, that's how I've gone about training and nutrition over the last 7 weeks to drop 5 kg. So that is a little update as to where things are at. If you can hear a little bit of a noise at the moment, I've got the dog here, who's been a real big help. Because one thing I would definitely say that has made this fat loss dieting phase easier is getting my steps in. Been doing recently 15,000 steps, and it's been a game changer. I really do think that if you have a high step count, you can get away without having to do countless hours of cardio. Now I do 2, maybe 3 cardio sessions a week, but they're just runs, and that's just more from enjoyment. But steps being high has made a huge difference. So we're going to wrap the video up. Obviously, I've just gone through my training and my nutrition. It is the following day, hence all of this lovely stuff in my sister's bedroom. So if there is anyone that's got any questions on dieting, training, recovery, anything like that, then obviously just drop a comment below. The plans going forward, I go to Cyprus on Sunday, so I'm going to be filming over there some content, just some lifestyle stuff, some training bits, some value education, that sort of stuff. And then in July we're into Barcelona for 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. So again, it'll be lifestyle training, and then yeah, we'll see what happens with my health biomarkers when I come back, document that, see how that goes, and the road to the Enhanced Games 2026 may begin. So we shall see. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.